That time of day, that time of the evening, as we look forward to your company on Whirlpool Presents ESPN Cricket 40 T20 Timeout, powered by Dell. At this stage of the IPL now, you're looking at teams that are close to each other on the points table, where every game, even in this relatively early stage of the tournament, seems to have significant consequence. KKR and the Chennai Super Kings is where our attention lies. It's in Abu Dhabi. It's a replay of the 2012 final, an epic final that gave Kolkata Knight Riders their first IPL win. And it's a game that sees both teams neck to neck on the points table as well, albeit with Kolkata with the extra game in hand, locked on 4 points each. And KKR looking to bounce back after losing to the Delhi Capitals in Sharjah. Chennai Super Kings shot in the arm after beating the Kings 11 Punjab convincingly by 10 wickets. So should make for a fascinating pre-match show. And we've got a new pairing here. Tom Moody's here. We never let him go too far, even though he's joining from Perth. And Akash Chopra's never far away from ESPN Cricket 4. We've decided to give him a break from Sanjay Manjrekar. He's had enough of him. So it's an upgrade for you, I guess, Akash, if it's not for Tom at least.
No, it's a definite big upgrade in terms of height and stature. Tom coming in for Sanjay Manjrekar, but Tom, let me tell you, it is Sanjay who decided not to appear alongside me and not the other way around.
Oh, come on. You overestimate the power Sanjay Manjrekar wields anywhere in cricket, let alone at ESPN Cricket 4. But Tom, good to have you. You had a nice line when I tease this joke. You're always, what is the phrase exactly? You're open to variety. Is that right?
Absolutely. Variety is the spice of life, isn't it? So I can learn something new every day if I'm lucky enough to work with different people every day.
Brilliant. That's a good old coach talking now. A man who knows exactly what words to say when it has to be. He's learned his diplomacy dealing with IPL owners over the years, has Tom Moody. Right. CSK versus KKR. Nothing diplomatic about this fixture. And we do know that 2 points are up for grabs. Both teams in need for it. News from Abu Dhabi is that Dinesh Karthik has won the toss. And for the first time this season, after winning the toss, has decided to have a bat first. They did bat in the game against Rajasthan Royals, but that was put in. Otherwise, KKR have always preferred chasing. Is this a bit of a reflection of the way results have gone, Akash? Or is it a way of results have gone in Abu Dhabi that Dinesh Karthik's decided batting first is what his team should do?
So far, batting first is turning out to be a bit of an advantage any which way because these pitches are not your flatbeds. And when you're actually playing at the Abu Dhabi Stadium, there is not enough dew either. So if a pitch is going to be slightly difficult to score in the second half, considering that there was a game yesterday on the same surface and there is no dew in the second half of the game, then I think it's a no-brainer. Bat first, but batting first is only an advantage if you go on to score 175 plus. We've seen that anything below that can easily be chased down. But with Chennai Super Kings, their strengths, their weaknesses, when you have a look at that and your own stuff, I think batting first is becoming a bit of a no-brainer now.
Yeah, I was a bit interested in moving to that pattern, Tom, where the teams are now going to bat first against CSK regardless of conditions. And then the last fixture came up where they chased 180 quite comfortably, albeit in Dubai. But after the evidence of the last game, can you not lightly say that, every time CSK comes along, let's just have a bat first and put them under pressure?
Look, I think in most cases, particularly in the early parts of the tournament, I feel it's more important to concentrate on your own backyard and really do what suits you and your side more than worrying about your opponent. Both of these sides playing this evening are still trying to find their feet in the tournament. They haven't played their best cricket. So really the focus must be more within against worrying about what your opponent's doing. So, clearly KKR are keen to get off, to some sort of momentum in this tournament. One, trying to get their final combinations right with where they're going to look with batting orders and things like that. But also just making sure that they're just playing some good cricket, both with bat and ball.
What have we learned about CSK, gentlemen, after the last game, where we started talking about, this season looks like there are so many things out of place and whatnot. After that result, Akash, what can we take away from Chennai Super Kings?
They've been investing in faith, and rather they're investing a lot of faith in the senior guys, the expertise, the experience. It does come to the fore in the end is what we learned here in the last game. And to be very honest, where I see them right now, if today today is going to be that game breaker, deal breaker for me. If they actually cross the line with the same outfit that they're fielding every single time, I think they'll
Hmm.
go the distance. They'll find their way to the playoffs. But if they fall again today, then you'll look back and see, oh my God, it was just a fluke where everything fell in place on that one night against a certain opposition, which is also actually lying right at the bottom. So today is the day when we get to know whether they've found a successful formula, or the formula that actually is what they're employing is going to be a successful one, because they don't change their formulas, do they?
Hmm.
It's just that we get to know whether it is a success or a failure. We were about 50-50 to begin with, but if they manage another win against this side while chasing, I'll say they're on course for good and better things in this tournament.
Okay, the last thing this tournament has been is predictable, at least when it comes to the Chennai Super Kings. And their lineups are usually predictable, but there is one change in MS Dhoni's side. Piyush Chawla, the hero of an IPL final in the past, is going to miss out on this one. And here he is. He makes way for Karan Sharma for his first appearance. So, like for like change, leg spinner comes in for leg spinner. Otherwise, it's an unchanged team that MS Dhoni will be fielding today. You say that teams are trying to find their best 11s. Tom, these two teams are locked on points, and we're still trying to figure which teams are closer to identifying their best 11s. With Chennai, regardless of where they are on the points table or how they're playing, it seems like that's never in doubt. They seem to know what their best team is.
Yeah, look, Ed, to be honest with you, I'm not sure whether they've got too many choices, too many
That's right.
real options that they can turn to and suddenly think, well, that's really going to make a big difference to our playing 11. So there's no surprise, one, that's they're sticking to a familiar combination, because that has seen them have success over many, many years. And also that formula of backing a team and backing players for a long period of time. We've seen them do that in the past with Shane Watson, using him as an example, and it's paid off with that, because at one stage last year, Shane Watson looked on his last legs as an IPL player, but then bang, before you know it, he's playing match-winning innings for them, and certainly helping them with their quest to win games. He's done it last game where he was looking a little bit shaky. So there is some, certainly a method to their madness, but at the end of the day, I don't think they've got a huge amount of choices. So they're really sticking to what they see as their cream of their crop to get them through. And I think the absence of Suresh Raina has created that in their top order. If he was there, it would give them the flexibility, possibly not going in with the two top heavy overseas batsmen, to enable someone like a Hazelwood to possibly play.
I also actually, just to add to what Tom is saying, if you see Chennai Super Kings from game 1 to game 5, you'll find that they have changed their tactics. They went in with a different tactic based on the fact that nobody has played cricket. All of our guys are out of competitive cricket for such a long time that let's go with 6 proper batsmen on only 5 bowling options. But that has changed already. There is one more change, I think, is in the offing. It will happen once Raidu and Kedar Jadhav Raidu is back in form and Kedar starts scoring runs. I think they will go to Josh Hazelwood over Sam Curran at some stage, because death bowling is a bit of a concern. And between Lungi and Giri and Josh Hazelwood, they might actually go in that direction. But they are very close to finding, or rather, they were always very close to finding their playing 11. Not too many options, as Tom mentioned, but they have changed their tactics based on what they have and for how long they have not played cricket.
Right. Shardul Thakur seems to have done all right in the few games at the death so far for Chennai. Karan Sharma comes in, Akash. He's a big money player for CSK, bought for 5 crore a couple of years. But since he's moved to CSK, we haven't seen much of him. Just one appearance last year. And I know he spent some time at the Sunrisers as well. So I'll come to Tom too. But just thoughts on Karan Sharma getting a game for Piyush Chawla?
It's a like for like swap. Now they do have 6 bowling options as well. So he started with Piyush Chawla, who he knew that he can go to for 4 overs, because he needed to have 5 bowlers who are like 4 over banks. But now that he's got a 6th bowling option available, he's gone to Karan Sharma. Of course, he can have a great day. He may actually have a slightly off day as well, because that's his first game. But Dhoni is not going to fret too much over Piyush Chawla or Karan Sharma. He can pick either of the two guys and still be absolutely fine. So I don't think it's that earth-shattering a decision or a big decision to make to leave Piyush Chawla out, because he's done well in the first couple of games. Then he also went for runs.
One unique thing about this Chennai team, and before we move to KKR, Tom, is one of the few teams that actually have guys still up to 11 who can hold the bat. Even Deepak Chahar is a capable number 11. You think they've got about 3 number 8s that will bat at 9, 10, 11. Karan Sharma is, 2 first-class hundreds. You know enough about him.
Yeah, look, they do bat deep, but in T20 cricket, I don't think that's that relevant, to be honest with you. Your real focus has to be on your top 5, maybe your 6th batsman. If you're losing the game with the bat in the first half with your top order, it's very hard to recover it with your back end sort of saying, "Oh, we've got depth," and hoping that they can dig you out of a hole. Because more often than not, if your top half aren't doing the job, the run rate has got that far out of control. It doesn't matter how deep your batting order is; they're not going to be good enough to recover any sort of game situation.
Right, fair enough. Let's move to the Kolkata Knight Riders. This is an interesting conversation now, and we thought that Kuldeep Yadav was left out as a result of playing at Sharjah against Delhi Capitals. They've stuck with the same team, even though they are playing in Abu Dhabi. So no changes at all. There'll be a couple of questions that I'll obviously get deep into. Where does Rahul Tripathi bat, and what does this tell you about the hierarchy in Kolkata's spin ranks? Let's start with the second one first, Akash. Kuldeep Yadav out, and looks like Varun Chakravarti is now the preferred Indian spin option.
Which is okay, because Varun has done well in the few games that he has played. He's picked up wickets. He's got that little bit of mystery around him. But then I still feel that they are playing one fast bowler too many. Shivam Mavi, Kamlesh Nagarkoti, Pat Cummins, and Andre Russell. And when Andre Russell is giving you important overs at the back end of an innings, you can, of course, go with another wicket taker who Kuldeep Yadav actually is. And this is a huge outfield. It's a used surface. So maybe it's the grass on the surface that's just forcing them to play Kamlesh Nagarkoti and Shivam Mavi and the 2 other fast bowling options. Otherwise, I thought it was plausible to just leave Kamlesh Nagarkoti and get Kuldeep Yadav in without really changing the dynamics in terms of the balance. I think Kuldeep could actually give you a couple of wickets.
Tom, thoughts on that? Kuldeep Yadav's wicket-taking ability has been on the decline in the last year or so. It seems the bowler's lost a bit of confidence. Would you still have liked to see him in KKR's 11 in Abu Dhabi today?
Yeah, look, I always like to see a wrist spinner that has got the capabilities that he's got. But at the end of the day, I think one of the concerns, Akash, with KKR is the amount of overs that Andre Russell can bowl. I don't think you can go into any game banking on his 4 overs. We've just seen so often over the past 24 months with Andre Russell, him pulling up lame quite early in spells. And we're only talking 4 overs they're going to bowl, but still, he's still got that knee issue. It still does cloud, his 100% fitness. So I think that's why they like to have that a little bit more depth in their pace bowling. But I think Kuldeep Yadav, might find himself back in this playing 11 as the tournament unfolds, when the wickets do get a little bit slower and start turning more.
All right, let's discuss KKR's batting order. And we've picked this exactly from the last game. So if you're a Rahul Tripathi fan, you should be offended that he played such a fine innings, but he was sent in after Pat Cummins. This is where we bring that conversation back to life now. Sunil Narayan at the top of the order. Numbers in the IPL just continue to decline for Sunil Narayan, the opening batsman. He does come off a good CPL, Akash, but if you look at just the IPL, is it time now to move him down and have Rahul Tripathi open, which is his preferred position as well?
See, if you're playing Rahul Tripathi, who's a natural opener, has done well as an opener, he's got some form in the previous game we've already seen, you should actually put him right at the top. But if KKR were to actually feature Sunil Narayan as an opener today, I may still understand, because this is the only last temptation, because when you look at Sunil Narayan, his returns against fast bowlers, not medium pacers, you'll find that he's been struggling. But when you look at the CSK's bowling lineup, you see only swing bowlers. You don't see fast bowlers. And that is perhaps the best chance of Sunil Narayan, the batsman, coming good. So do you want to just toy with that option one last time? Then this is the last time. But I would still say that go with Rahul Tripathi. Don't put him at 8. If you're playing a batsman, do not put him at 8, because you're just wasting his abilities.
Before I even go to Tom, I want to ask you, but if they play him today, given what you've said, and he comes off, then what do? Do you keep him there? Then even though the next time he might be facing proper fast bowling?
See, you'll have to, because there was a reason why you promoted him, and you actually stuck with him because he gives you that kind of flying starts. And if he's capable of doing that, if he's doing that again, okay, stick with him, and then you figure out if he gets out early, you send in Rahul Tripathi. If he actually is there till the sixth, seventh over, then it takes its own course. You can go with Nitish Rana, Morgan, Karthik, Russell, and that's fine. Then the batsman at 8 is not required at all. So if you want to go down that route, it's okay. But yes, don't do injustice to a guy who's actually a designated opener, but you're putting him after Pat Cummins at number 8.
Came from the heart of an opening batsman, as Akash Chopra made that point. Don't do the injustice to him. He seemed in good hitting form, Tom, last game, albeit at Sharjah in a pressure situation. Neat little innings for Rahul Tripathi. As an opener, his best year was, of course, for Rising Pune Supergiant, and not bad numbers. Those averages over 35, strike rate 140. If he is playing in the team, would you rather have him open with Shubman Gill instead of Sunil Narayan?
He's a real puzzle to me in how his IPL career has sort of taken a bit of a sideward shift, because, my memories of him as the player is a destructive player, someone that you must get early because he's going to hurt you. But he hasn't really found his home since those memories that I have. Just with Narayan, I understand the philosophy behind Narayan and what KKR believe with him. Whether they've got the patience to continue with them from this game onwards is yet to be decided yet. But with Narayan, they know that he's not going to use up balls. If he gets out, he gets out quickly. But if he comes off, it's one of those moments that shifts the momentum of the match dramatically. So I think they consider him as a bit of a free hit up front, knowing that, look, he's going to be completely wasted down at 7 and 8. Let's just use him up front. And if he gets out, well, it doesn't really affect the way that we approach the game. But I agree with Akash in that you've got a pure opener coming in at number 8, and who has got a healthy strike rate. I would be going with a pure opener.
All right. I'd like to explore this conversation of Sunil Narayan and whether him opening is actually a bit of a free hit for KKR. It doesn't matter. Gautam Gambhir made an interesting point, Tom. I don't know how much you buy into it. His primary role is that of a bowler. The fact that he's been an opener and now isn't succeeding as much as he is, whether that has any correlation to his dip in bowling form. He's not bowled his 4 overs on occasion in this year's tournament. He's not getting the wickets that he used to. Is there any correlation at all between Sunil Narayan failing as a batsman to his lack of effect as a bowler?
No. I think his decline with his bowling has more been his challenges with his injury with his finger over the last 12 months or so. But I think he's also had, not of recent past, but in the past, issues with his action. And I think that has also, challenged, his bowling and his effectiveness purely because he's remodeled his action. And he's constantly working on keeping his action in a good position.
All right, fair enough. Akash, the other
I
thing.
agree.
Yes, please.
No, I agree. Completely agree. I think both are not related at all because you're not talking about a greenhorn who's just started playing cricket. You're talking about a guy who knows his game, who understands the value of bowling those 4 overs. If there is anything that has to do with his bowling, it's his action, it's his fingers, it's his effectiveness, efficacy that we have seen. It's on a bit of a decline. If we start not acknowledging it, then I think we're just fooling ourselves. Sunil Narayan, the bowler that he was, has not been the same in the last couple of years. There is a change. He does not bowl in the power play overs. He does not bowl in the death overs. KKR also has been using him in a very different shape and form. So, and there is a good reason for that, because that effectiveness is not there anymore. So, but is he good enough to still play the IPL? Of course. Can he bowl 4 overs? Yes, provided you give him 4 overs, because last match, actually, I was slightly disappointed. He bowled 1 over in the power play overs. Prithvi Shaw went after him, and anybody can actually get hit at Sharjah, and just bowled 1 more over. And that over was not that bad. But then Dinesh Karthik never went back to him. So if you got those 6-7 bowling options, sometimes you let your a fairly effective bowler at this level in the middle overs of an IPL game not even finish his quota of overs.
Sure, and he made Varun bowl towards the end, so there was an over that could have gone to the more experienced Sunil Narayan. The other thing that Tom mentioned, it's been common IPL knowledge too that he doesn't waste too many balls. I'm just scanning through his innings this season: 9 of 10, 0 from 2, 15 from 14, 3 from 5. So that's 2 games that he's been out cheaply. And now Gaurav Sundaraman has an interesting theory, our IPL wizard, Tom. I think you must have seen some of his statistical tweets before. He says teams have figured how to bowl to Narayan in a way that he even ends up consuming balls. Now, is that theory hold good, that he's not quite the hit or out player that he was, say, a season or 2 back?
There's no doubt, and Sunil Narayan's not on his own here, that every team has got a very, very thorough approach in making sure that they know exactly where to bowl and who to bowl to who. So Sunil Narayan is a closely investigated player whenever you play against KKR, because you know that if you do let him off the hook, look out, it's going to be ugly, because he gets his runs so quickly, and you know that you've still got pure batting to follow. So he's given them such a free head start. So teams do certainly know how to bowl to Sunil Narayan a lot better. Pace is a real issue for him. Bowling that body line is also a challenge for him. But if he has his day and the surface is tame and the bowling attack that he's come across is also tame or slightly off target, look out, he's going to hurt you.
All right, final question as we close this discussion. For now, on Narayan, the opener, CSK bowling lineup, batting first in Abu Dhabi, notwithstanding anything that's been discussed, would you open with Sunil Narayan, yes or no? Akash?
I'll actually go with Rahul Tripathi. Just go
All right.
with him.
I'd agree with that. I'd go with a pure opener. I think the trial has come to an end.
All right, brilliant. Sunil Narayan, if he had to pick an opponent to find some form against, he'd pick MS Dhoni, he'd pick CSK. It's that legend, isn't it? MS Dhoni, in all these years playing against Sunil Narayan, has still never hit him for a boundary. He's not given his wicket too often to him, but that strike rate of 49.15, you take that as against a lot of wickets if you're a bowler in T20 cricket, especially against Dhoni, including a Dhoni at his prime. Does this in any way baffle you, or is it understandable that player of Dhoni's prowess over the years in the IPL, Akash, has just not found a way to take on or dominate Sunil Narayan?
There are 2 sides to the story. One, what data is telling you that he's not hit a boundary and his strike rate is low and all of that. The other side of the story is whether he's even inclined to go after Narayan. Is he actually thinking of him as a guy who can be targeted? He did exactly the same with Rashid Khan. He comes with his own plans. His idea is, okay, I identify him as a threat. I'm going to just give him some respect, and I can actually target somebody else. The other question, because this data only talks about Dhoni versus Narayan, the bigger talking point should be, okay, what happens in that game when he's actually going at 49 or 50 and he's been there not hitting Sunil Narayan boundaries? So do they end up winning? Do they end up with a below par score? If the answer to that question is no, they still find their way and Dhoni eventually fires and targets others, I'd still be okay. So this is the beauty of the IPL, that you have a Sunil Narayan. For every Sunil Narayan, there may be actually a Nagarkoti, a Mavi, a Prasidh Krishna, or somebody else. So in terms of Rashid Khan as well. So I think one side, of course, is that Narayan has been very economical. The other side is that he's not even trying to hit him for boundaries or sixes.
All right. Is there anything technically, Tom, of Sunil Narayan, the bowler, that troubles MS Dhoni, the batsman, that you could make sense of those numbers?
I 100% agree what Akash is saying. I think Dhoni, and this is the skill of Dhoni, he identifies a threat and he nullifies the threat. And it doesn't, how much he nullifies that threat and how many dot balls he consumes is not his issue, because he always trusts his game to be able to catch up, because he's identified other bowlers that are going to pay the price because of Narayan or Rashid Khan or anyone that has that sort of mystery edge to them. Dhoni just shuts them down and absorbs their balls. So, I think it's a clear strategy from him. If he wanted to go out there and try to hit boundaries, I'm sure he could. But what he recognised, that suddenly the elevation of his chances of getting out go through the roof against a bowler that he may not pick, which way it's turning. So he plays it smart. He's reading the game, and that's why Dhoni has been such a good player for many, many years and a very good captain.
All right. Rahul Tripathi has walked out, so that settles it. KKR agree with the collective wisdom of this show that it's time for Sunil Narayan to come out in the middle, and for Rahul Tripathi, given that they have that proper opening batsman to come up. So thumbs up. Akash Chopra is very pleased with that. Justice to Rahul Tripathi. Before we wind up, though, maybe a quick conversation on the rest of the KKR batting lineup. There seems to be a deliberate attempt, Tom, to split Morgan and Russell, to bring Dinesh Karthik up higher? The kind of hitting form we've seen of Owen Morgan, what we know already of Andre Russell, how would you best utilize them, especially now, given that they're batting first?
Well, I think Morgan, they're trusting his form and trusting his experience. Morgan, the player today, is a far different player than what IPL saw Morgan a number of years ago. He's self-assured. He trusts his game. He just plays very much from instinct, and he knows how to finish a game. Karthik has had that reputation, but isn't in the same sort of form. So maybe they're trying to search for form for the captain, knowing that Morgan is still there as a safe gap to be able to finish any game with a very calm, cool head.
Akash?
I feel that Morgan is slightly underutilized at this point in time. They should try and get the most out of him. And in the process, if Karthik finds form, it's great. If he doesn't, it should not really bother them too much. For a simple reason that when you're batting first, for example, you need to get to that 180 mark to put enough pressure on the opposition. And we've seen that by promoting someone who's not in great form, you're demoting someone who actually is in great form. And then you're relying too heavily on that Andre Russell's blitz, that he'll come 20 ball 45 and he'll take you to an above par score. But that hasn't happened. So in my opinion, whether it's two left-handers batting alongside on the pitch, you've got Nitish Rana and Or Morgan. Stick with that, no problem whatsoever, as long as Morgan is getting enough balls to hit.
All right, let's see. Maybe today is the day. The leg spinners, the left arm spinners, so two left-handers. Maybe we will see them together. Thank you very much, Tom Moody, Akash Chopra. Get your thoughts in 20 overs time from now to see how much KKR have got against CSK. This is a big game. You can almost feel that winner of this game would carry some serious momentum going forward into the tournament. Do join us then for the mid-innings analysis on Whirlpool Presents ESPN Cricket for T20 Timeout, powered by Dell.